Hey, all my John Wick modders who will never get a good enough John Wick game of their own, so they gotta smash it onto my beloved Max Payne 3? Boy, do I have a game for you. Last we left off in Max Payne 3, Marcel was playing the part of the Wicker Man, but in a tire. I'd go into more detail of his rebirth through fire and all the other Bronco family members I have quite literally failed at bodyguarding, but I'm not here to talk about the story. No, far from it. I'm here to talk about that silky smooth as fuck gameplay, and what story we can get out of the gameplay solely. I'm achieving this when the game will let me by playing Score Attack, which is a mode I can actually skip the cutscenes easier. So if you're expecting a breakdown of going from Maltese Falcon to any Tony Scott, Denzel Washington-led film, sorry, you're on the wrong video. But let's see what Sam Lake, Max Payne, has been up to in Sao Paulo, Brazil, aside from killing half of its population. After the events of Marcelo Bronco being reborn through spiritual rebirth, by fucking fire, and after Fabiano Bronco losing a game of Duck Duck Goose, Russian roulette, Max and Giovanni Tavares find themselves in a public transit bus station. And it looks like the Sao Paulo public transit world has been overtaken by an anti-capitalist Marxist Lenin socialist private army. So Max decides to bring back faith in Brazil's broken tax allocation systems to bring it up to the respectable standards, all the while Giovanni cries and screams in fear. But her knowing firsthand Max's track record of bodyguarding for people, honestly, scream away. After taking out the militia on the ground, I get to take out 2 snipers for probably one of my cooler kill cams I've had so far. After this exchange, we get a cutscene I can luckily enough skip, as it leads us to the bus depot fueling station where, and credit to Giovanni, she knows how to fuck off into cover, so you never have to worry about her getting killed. More on that later. And rather than describe every kill for this epic exchange, I'd figure a lovely montage would do, just of the no character growth was ever established variety.
Secret to punch. Whole body. Asmore. Yut. Asmore. Yut. Asmore. 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 Yut. Yut. Yut.
Made our arrival more obvious. We had to hide someplace out of the open.
After clearing everyone out, you go get Giovanna from the dumpster she was hiding behind to go inside the bus station bus repair and maintenance garage. This is where we get a 1 minute and 30-second long cutscene you can't skip, but does provide some interesting information that you wouldn't have learned if you played the game like I am and skipping all the cutscenes humanly possible in Score Attack. Well, Giovanna is pregnant with Passos being the baby daddy.
A barely recovering alcoholic and an unarmed pregnant woman. We were hardly a SEAL team. I put our life expectancy at 5 minutes.
Cool, but considering how bleak and dark the Max Payne universe already is, not even to mention where it fucking began. Let's hope they don't pull a mother on us.
Can you hear that?
After the annoyingly long cutscene finishes, we get a lovely set-piece moment where Max jumps onto a hook lift as you hang on shooting the enemies in front of you one by one. And this guy, who I guess I missed. We get another cutscene that luckily this time I can skip for another montage-worthy shootout in the garage.
Whole body.
be a way to drop those stairs down.
Wait a second. I'm going to try something.
After Giovanna successfully pushes a button to lower the stairs, Max has another quick shootout with the remaining bus drivers. I also take another moment to do a Darby Allin off this flight of stairs. Here we get another minute-long cutscene I can't skip, where you help Giovanna into this building as you have a lovely shootout in this office. Honestly, you'll never hear me complain about these shootouts in the office workplace environment. In video game form, of course. Giovanna ends up getting herself into a hostage situation, which I would know more details of if I didn't keep kayfabe alive and skip the cutscenes, but I make short work of her captor. Guess I could have done that cleaner. We get another long cutscene you can't skip of Max and Giovanna finding a bus they can use to get out of there. Giovanna drives while you shoot on what I can only describe as a on-rails meets unadulterated gun porn.
You're doing fine!
Oh my god!
Try to stay calm!
I mean, it's fun, but I prefer moving while shooting. After shooting enough of Brazil's population, another bus hits yours, causing Giovanna to crash the bus into this apartment complex. Keep in mind, Giovanna is still very, very pregnant. Eventually, you wake up from the crash as you have an explosive standoff with Brazil's counterterrorism units. Suntan oil, stale margaritas, and greed starts off on the Bronco yacht, where Max is rudely awoken from his drinking slumber. Whose yacht exactly? I mean, hopefully one of the dead Broncos I was supposed to protect. Might as well include Max in the will for the yacht unless Victor Bronco is its owner. More on that later. Also, I chose Max's laundry day outfit, and no, sadly, Max's old man balls never slipped through during my playthrough. What does take place is a great shootout in the yacht's kitchen. After eliminating these terrorists, or socialist, or capitalist, what is the narrative word to stoke anger nowadays?
Complain about it, but when we give in to those atheist groups that keep suing pro-Palestinian or whatever they're putting forward, these are all fronts for feminism, secularism, just think communism, of religion and family from our culture, and it's up to us.
Oh, gotcha. I make my way to the boiler room for probably the longest and most boring segment of this level, where we, as Max, must turn off the fuel pump so the boat doesn't blow itself up any further. This while you're forced to watch cutscenes you can't skip of Max and some of his inner thoughts.
I could breathe again. Now the boat could get back to smelling like suntan oil, stale margaritas, and greed.
Max makes his way to the backside of the yacht, and if you played GTA 5 before, this yacht should look familiar for either being used in the Michael Save Your Daughter from having another train run on her mission, as well as one of the heist missions in multiplayer. And with Remedy supposedly remaking Max Payne along with Rockstar to bring the original developer daddy home, it's nice to see this part of the game forever memorialized in GTA. That, or they figured why not use some assets and save some money from their extremely most high-budgeted game at the time, before GTA 6 releases and decides the future impact of our economy more than the strength of the American dollar or the Strait of Hormuz can. This sequence is multi-layered, and fun is fun. Glass getting destroyed, and just a great general sense of chaos and despair. After this, Max makes it to the entertainment room of the yacht to stop these Marxists from stealing whatever is in this Bronco family safe. Food for thought. Why not just steal the yacht? I'm sure that would be worth a pretty penny. After this, Max makes his way through the guest chambers for another great shootout where enemies are hiding in the guest room bathrooms and under beds for what would be a nice surprise if I hadn't already played this game for 70-something hours prior. Max makes his way to the backside docking area of the yacht for another tense shootout where socialists are climbing their way onto the boat, as well as the socialists on the backside main deck. After eliminating the social progress for undervalued sections of poor third world countrymen, we have a shootout on the side deck with more of the government's shadow puppet soldiers in what is probably the toughest sequence of this level. This level and these sequences are really what best highlights what makes Max Payne 3 work so well, when it's less of the set-piece Michael Bay tentpole explosion sequences and more of the good enemy placement and level design and structure you fight through. Max makes his way to the captain's quarters
and the band played on.
and I find this fucking awesome shotgun. After this, we get a cutscene with Max that luckily I can skip as I am magically teleported off the yacht and onto the docking area for a shootout against some more socialists as we try to take out the socialist snipers on the clock tower. Did I say we? Cause Passos doesn't really help at all. Also, that cool shotgun is relatively useless here due to how far the enemies are, though luckily you can grab a sniper rifle off of this truck to contend with them. After this, we make our way to the top of the clock tower to eliminate the last of the snipers. You get a cutscene of Max wanting to take part in Family Day Let's Fix the Marriage ziplining, with a unwilling socialist terrorist as you zipline down shooting more of the socialist Marxist Lenin terrorist. After shooting my way through more Marxist terrorists, I make my way into the historical Sao Paulo Cultural Visitor Museum, where Max decides to add more culture to it by killing the population currently inside of it. The great American savior to the poor is next in Max's quest of going full Thanos and wiping out half of Sao Paulo, Brazil's population. Starts with a cutscene that explains lots of story beat elements and character development, most notably for undercover detective for police and political corruption, Wilson Da Silva, who asks you to go to the nicest hotel next to the nicest hotel in Eli Roth's hostel, and how the hotel is more or less Soylent Greening the local population.
Max, you see that building there?
Imperial Palace Hotel.
Yeah, that's what it says. People go in there in large groups under armed guard, but it isn't a police station, and no one comes out of there.
And this is another way for Max to redeem himself in this country to put this to a stop, but luckily I can skip the cutscene to not have to elaborate any further, cause I'm keeping kayfabe alive in the year of our Lord 2026, brother. We start with what I can only assume was meant to be a stealth sequence with Max using a plastic bottle as a silencer. It doesn't work. And though I alerted the Socialist Private Army with my makeshift silenced pistol, I do find a unnecessarily overkill placed grenade launcher in the Grand Sao Paulo Emporium of Sadness Hotel. Next, Max pushes a button to enter the next hall of the Grand Sao Paulo Emporium of Sadness Hotel, and sorry in advance for putting Max in his laundry day outfit, because walking these floors with bare feet, I'd be shocked if Max doesn't catch tetanus, hepatitis, Ebola, syphilis, smallpox, leprosy, autism. Next, Max makes his way to this room as we get another cutscene I can't skip. Here we see Max collecting evidence as he bumps into the Grand Sao Paulo Emporium of Sadness Hotel's immaculate concierge, Serrano. He looks like he's seen better days since last playing Duck Duck Goose with a loaded gun. Max makes his way up a collapsed elevator shaft to the Grand Sao Paulo Emporium of Sadness Hotel's recreation areas, including this above-ground pool, which has no water, a tennis court, and a basketball court for the younger ones to play in. A 5-star bistro bar and grill featuring Brazil's best smash burgers one can find in Sao Paulo. Hey, and look at that, near the games room. It's a piano.
There it was, the soundtrack to my life. And, for a few seconds, came harmony. Finally.
Next, Max walks through these double doors for another cutscene we can't skip, where we discover how the Sao Paulo government is using the Sao Paulo Grand Emporium of Sadness Hotel as a front for harvesting the organs of its lower-class poor citizens. The doctor tries to bribe Max.
Doing! I have a lot of money. Look. Lots of money.
But let's be real, my version of Max Payne has killed people who have done a fraction of the atrocities as I have, as Max for a lot less, mostly for free. But hey, look, it's Serrano. Here to, I guess, redeem himself for delivering the humans in the to-be-trafficked organs variety, so Serrano takes a scalpel to him, but just to be clear, whether in-game or I even think narratively, Max would have at least shot the guy in the dick, but considering what happens to the Grand Sao Paulo Emporium of Sadness Hotel, more on that later.
For all Serrano owed me, he'd paid enough. For now, I had bigger debts to call in. Even I could guess what Demolição meant. That building was condemned in more ways than one.
Yep, Max is correct. As the next part of this mission, you are tasked with placing C4 on parts of the building's structure. You are met by more of Sao Paulo's socialist private army. After clearing out the army, you ascend to the next floor, but first have to battle snipers on the opposing side of the building in a brilliant sniper shootout. It's not done a lot in this game, but these sniper standoffs are 10 out of 10 sequences, and are spaced out perfectly to change up the pace. Max makes his way to the next floor to add more C4 as you take out more of the Sao Paulo private army. After this exchange, you get a cutscene of Max making his way to the rooftop, which has all those meme-worthy quotes, such as,
My problem? My problem? Wanna know what my problem is? You're turning humans into glue! That's what my fucking problem is!
I don't know what you're talking about, American. All I know is what I hear about you. You bodyguard for the Brancos. They are all dead. You help the poor. Today, many of them dead. You are a proper American hero.
At least I fucking tried. Well, your powerful people aren't gonna help you out of this one, buddy.
But luckily I can skip the cutscene and keep kayfabe alive, but before I skipped I can at least assume Max pushed the button as the roof of the building begins to implode in on itself as the camera shakes and shit just randomly blows up. You make it to the boss fight, which is another heavily armored, heavy enemy type Gatling gun enemy. And this standoff is a little more tough because you only have this one spot for cover, so plan your shots out correctly. Great fucking level.
I'd killed more cops than cholesterol.
A fat bald dude with a bad temper, which yes is very correct. Chapter 16 starts with you in the Sao Paulo police station, for some reason. Not sure how we got here after the Grand Sao Paulo Emporium of Sadness Hotel, since I'm playing Score Attack and keeping kayfabe alive in the year 2026 of our Lord. But Max now has to shoot his way through the police station. First, destroy the infrastructure of the high-class elite before going through the publicly funded police that, yes, has been taken over by the 1% financing and influence over the Sao Paulo police, which makes them more of a police state like private militia.
What do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby.
Max makes his way to the Sao Paulo holding cells, which honestly as an American gives me a great sense of pride knowing that the Sao Paulo prison and jail systems makes the American one known for privatization of for human profit of human flesh for you and me to live in. For what I assume is in another list of tax write-offs I'm sure none of us agree with. Max takes out the dark state private police state private militia and some of the Sao Paulo prisoners because
it's funny.
Max makes his way through another cutscene that I can skip for a shootout in the Sao Paulo police weapons holding station. And I know I'm a broken record of every level being my favorite level, but it's not how much you have to interact with the environment as much as it's everything that happens to the environment around you, the level of detail to make each area truly feel lifting. This on top of the fact you're in the weapons storage area that this level gives you all the best guns to take out the privately funded Sao Paulo's most finest corrupt police. The enemy placement, everything is just peak chef's kiss, 10 out of 10 shootout sequences. Max pushes a button and makes his way to the parking lot where he is meted by an armored truck. The trick here is to wait for it to stop firing, grab this rocket launcher, wait for it to stop firing again, and blow it the fuck up.
That RPG go to waste.
Also pro tip, grab the grenade launcher and have fun blowing up your enemies. In style. After sadly running out of grenades, I take out the remaining Sao Paulo police parking lot security team to make my way to the Sao Paulo police garage to take out its security detail there as well. Also, I held on to the grenade launcher and found some more grenades for it, and decided to use it on the police attacking a prisoner. It doesn't go well for anyone involved.
Another dark, rainy night. Another police station. Another futile crusade for amends. Time moves forward, and nothing changes.
I make my way to the Sao Paulo police locker rooms, and yep, I still got the grenade launcher in a place probably too small for it. Max eliminates the remaining Sao Paulo police in the changing rooms, which brings Max to a shootout in the crime scene analysis station, and yep, still have grenades for an office too small for them. Here we also face a lot more heavily armored enemy types, which often require more than one headshot to kill, which totally fine by me. After clearing out the police, you push this button for a cutscene I can skip, as the Sao Paulo police cut the lights and try to smoke you out, with only their laser sights being a way to identify them, which would be more tense if I didn't still have my grenade launcher. Max makes his way to an elevator, which leads him to the Sao Paulo police reception area for the public, as we murder anyone in our vicinity. Next up is an office place shootout in the detective station. All of this before you have a battle with another heavily armored mini-boss Gatling gun enthusiast.
Always the same shit.
I'd killed more cops than cholesterol.
The next skirmish is in the Sao Paulo evidence room, which which is a great shootout because it's easier to identify your enemies using flashlights in a semi-low lit office, so genius strategy there. After surviving the fight, you go to a weapons locker room with the dealer's choice of this game's most reliable and fun weapons for your choice for total annihilation. You make your way to this door, which leads to a cutscene of you getting tear gassed in a staircase. Find this vent shaft and shoot off the cage as it leads you to a skippable cutscene that leads to Max falling through the ventilation ducts for this cool little slow-motion shootout sequence. Next up is the forensics lab, which features militia flying through the windows and gassing the place up again, so I can play some more laser tag, but with bullets. Walking to a door, we get a cutscene with the main boss of this level, Bachmeier. And I'd go into more detail, but I skipped the cutscene. This leads to a straight-up John Woo hard-boiled sequence, and it's lovely. After eliminating the ones I didn't get during that badass sequence, next we make it to another gun storage locker for another shootout so I can lay claim to whichever murder tool I desire.
Another pile of bodies and still nothing to show for it.
Max makes his way to the airsoft arena in the Sao Paulo police station, but with an assault rifle. After this is the firing range for another awesome shootout, and these two sequences back to back are just fucking awesome. A soldier tries to surrender, but Max does what Max does when I'm playing as Max, at least.
'Cause it's funny.
After going through the police storage and the one officer guarding it, poorly, Max makes his way to the AI data center at the Sao Paulo police station and downsizes the human element of the equation since AI can do their jobs now. We get a cutscene that I can skip that begins a boss fight with you and Bachmeier. It's a fine boss fight that has you contending with enemies on the ground as you attempt to shoot the ceiling above Bachmeier to drop a air conditioner unit on his head, pulling him out of cover, which is the only time you can shoot him. You do this twice and kill Bachmeier. Oh, and if I had one complaint for this level, only when you play it in score attack, when you kill Bachmeier, it cuts too quickly of the carnage of Bachmeier's death, which should have looked like this. One card left to play, the last time we ever got to play or see Max Payne in a video game, unless you count Alan Wake 2.
I was dead tired. I just wanted it to be over.
So true.
Would have started off with Max exposing how bad Sao Paulo, Brazil's TSA and Homeland Security are at stopping random bald, heavily armed gringos wanted by every form of law enforcement by the city of Sao Paulo really is at doing their jobs. But I skipped the cutscene to keep the floating corpse of kayfabe alive. We start on a cargo rail as we make our way to heavy fire from every form of law enforcement this city has left. After this, we do the same upstairs. After raiding the bathrooms for pills, I get a cutscene that shows Max looking out to the main lobby and security closing down the airport for yours truly. Also, you might be asking the montage music I chose. Well, I know this is gonna be copyright central just to showcase one of the greatest segments in Max Payne history, so might as well use it for the montage since both of our journeys of Max Payne are coming well to an end. Next, I decide to do another Darby Allin off the second floor.
Grabbing peels.
Up next is honestly a set of shootout segments that left my dick on the floor, and still does to this day, from the fight on the escalator to the shootout in the rail station, as we get smoked out again to a fight between dueling trams. I could go into detail here, but I'd rather do another montage, because words can't honestly do these 3 segments justice.
I felt like I might be able to recharge for a second, and met more murderous assholes. Everyone wanted a ticket for the Max Payne Express.
Epic. Just epic. And after all that, our tram makes it to its destination for a really, really long cutscene I can't skip, so I guess I might as well take in all the inner monologue Max wants to give before our final fight with Armando Decker, the leader of the UDFE.
Sticking with De Silva and going straight to the hangar. But when was I ever about smart moves? I'm a dumb move guy. Hey Max, we'll drive onto the runway. No thanks. Let me walk in the main entrance. That's my style, and it's too late in the day to hope for change. Boy, were they throwing numbers at this problem. But then, I'd chosen to be here. I wanted this. Was it redemption? Not really. It was pathetic desperation, and not much else. The mission was screaming suicide, but I didn't give a damn. At least I'd die being a pain in the ass. There the bastards were, sneaking off in their rich kid's toy.
I ain't got nowhere else to go, Becker! Mr. Payne, I believe you had something to say to me!
After the really long cutscene, I'm finally able to skip the cutscene as soon as Armando Becker can get more than 6 words in.
Mr. Payne, I believe you had something to say to me!
Which is good, because he might want to save his strength while he can. More on that later.
I was pretty sure you didn't call me up here to shoot the shit.
Here we get what I like to call the last boss fight of this game, and it's a doozy. You have minimal coverage behind cargo storage containers as UDFE goons come in from every corner and vehicle by large numbers. All this while Becker fires grenades at you. This is a tough fight, but feels earned after you eliminate all the UDFE, just leaving you and Becker, and it doesn't end well for him.
This was it. It was almost over. So I guess I'd become what they wanted me to be. And these chumps had paid for some angry gringo without the sensibilities to know right from wrong. Here I was, about to execute this poor bastard like some dime store angel of death, and I realized they were correct.
After murdering Becker, between the fine line of mercy and who honestly cares,
I told you assholes to watch out for Iran, and you didn't listen to me. That's not important.
I skip the cutscene to be magically teleported to Serrano's car, as we get another set-piece Michael Bay segment, which just barely feels tonally at odds with the world of Max Payne as we chase after Victor Bronco in his private jet. I think. Kayfabe in 2026, brother. Here we blow up everything in our sight with a grenade launcher as we try to blow out one of the engines of Victor Bronco's private plane. Once this is accomplished in score attack, it's just straight to the scorecard. Yep, so no resolution of Victor being sent to prison before becoming relatable to Jeffrey Epstein in terms of how they leave prison. No Max walks off into the sunset. It just ends. But well, this is it. This is it for Max. What started as a revenge story bogged down by a corporate conspiracy over the death of his wife and kid, to an entangled love affair with a contract killer, to bodyguarding, albeit poorly, for the Bronco family in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The story has always been the same, of a detective, or former detective, caught in a world he doesn't belong in, and how his unbridled rage cannot be tamed for finding closure within it. Max Payne 3, for all the hate it gets from one side of the crowd for just Max's story finishing in Brazil, is almost as much of a tell as when people say Pragmata is overly sexualized. Point is, don't be weird, and don't be obtuse just for the sake of it. Remedy is making a remake of Max Payne 1, and possibly Max Payne 2, which in all honesty is the right choice rather than continuing Max's story in Max Payne 3 after he walks into the sunset with a giant duffel bag full of cash. Or even a prequel to the original Max Payne, which wouldn't make much sense for him to still be employed by the NJPD for how many murderous death campaigns just to solve a case, then go on a murder spree after being the most wanted by your own department for killing a cop you didn't kill, as Max kills his way to the bottom of another conspiracy. Just saying, that body count after wouldn't make much sense if it was all a prequel. I guess at the end of all this, I ask, why haven't we gotten anything close to Max Payne 3 in terms of gameplay and how it reacts to you and around you? But we live in a time far removed from when Rockstar could have multiple development studios while making multiple great fucking games for the time. That time primarily being the PS2 era. Now all of those studios have either been Activision approach tasked with absolving into the team that makes GTA 5 Online, Red Dead Redemption 2, even if now all those Cronenberg overspliced developers have been merged into getting GTA 6 out before insert your favorite This game came out before GTA 6 joke. Huh, what restraint, I didn't show a GTA 6.
Grandpa? Miss, could you tell me about GTA 6? We're still waiting for it.
I guess all I'm asking for is a remaster of Max Payne 3. That would be nice when you finally close down GTA 5, give those people something to do. No! Well, now I need a new game. I can break down its gameplay while skipping cutscenes to see what the story of the gameplay can tell me. Huh. See, nothing controversial there.